Hi, my name is Jennifer Salter, and I'm a Rutherford County Master Gardener. Today, since we've spent almost most of the year homebound, I thought we could do a little bit of virtual travel and visit some gardens in different parts of the world. These gardens range from the more formal to those that are tucked away in national parks where you can enjoy a long ramble after a garden visit. So welcome to all over the world, 3 continents, 8 cities, and 10 gardens. We'll start out in Miami, Florida, and then go across the Atlantic Ocean to County Donegal in Ireland. From there, we'll head back to the Bavarian city of Augsburg in Germany. Then we fly back across the Atlantic to the Caribbean island nation of Trinidad and Tobago. Then it's across South America to Bogota in Colombia, before heading back up to the USA for our first stop in El Paso, Texas. Then we move on to San Francisco, California, before finishing our virtual tour in Chicago, Illinois. Tucked away into a peaceful little corner of Miami on Biscayne Bay is Vizcaya Museum and Gardens. This former estate was built in 1916, and the property consists of a villa, which is now a museum, the gardens, and what remains of a native forest. That's a total of about 50 acres. There is a charge for entering both the gardens and the museum. You can begin your trip with a tour of the oceanfront villa or museum, which has a large collection of tropical houseplants in an interior covered courtyard. However, it's the exterior gardens which are the biggest attraction here. There are 10 acres which contain an Italian Renaissance formal garden, an orchid garden, and some smaller ones. Surrounding this formal setting is the native hammock jungle forest, which easily creates that feeling of being in an oasis away from the big city. The Renaissance gardens cannot be done justice through photographs. I've tried. Low-trimmed shrubs organize the walkways into geometric patterns, and you can almost feel that you are visiting the gardens at Versailles in France. If you stand on the staircase outside the museum, looking down, you can see the Renaissance garden spread out in front of you in all of its majesty. There are many places to sit, relax, and take in the garden's stunning vistas. Vizcaya has an orchid collection of over 2,000 plants in greenhouses, or as it's called, the orchidarium. Many are used in floral displays inside the villa or museum and placed around in the other gardens. This collection includes many Florida natives and warm-growing exotic orchids. This area is definitely worth a long visit, strolling through and admiring these beautiful plants. If you are an orchid lover, this is a slice of heaven. Included on the property is a sunken garden where the pathways and planters are made of Cuban limestone, crushed shells, and coral. The whole area is filled with cacti and succulents. Again, there are many places to sit and enjoy the view, but some of the best views are from up above before heading down the stairs into the sunken garden. In addition to the formal gardens, the orchidarium and the sunken garden, there are other smaller gardens tucked away on the property to enjoy. A secret garden, a theater garden, and a maze garden. Of course, my favorite when visiting any gardens in the South is always the Spanish moss and the spectacular tree roots. Now we fly across the Atlantic Ocean to the Republic of Ireland and visit County Donegal in the northwest of the island. Here we'll be visiting Glenveigh National Park and Gardens. Glenveigh Castle and Gardens form the heart of Glenveigh National Park. The castle was built in between 1870 and 1873. It is surrounded by a Victorian garden and over 40,000 acres of mountains, lakes, glens, and woods. There is year-round free access to the gardens and park, but there is a small charge for the castle. The gardens also date back to the 1880s and still feature their original Victorian layout. We visited in July, and as you can tell from the lack of crowds, Glenveigh and its gardens are a well-kept secret. The gardens in Glenveigh include a multitude of exotic plants from as far away as Chile, Madeira, and Tasmania. These are all sheltered by beautiful windbreaks of pine trees, some seen here on the left, and ornamental rhododendrons. From the 1950s to the 1980s, the layout of the garden was increased to include a Gothic orangery, an Italian terrace, and a Tuscan garden. Today, Glenveigh is also well known for its rich collection of trees and shrubs. You can find tree rhododendrons and magnolias aplenty, with underplantings of azaleas, hostas, and astilbes. Once you've spent time enjoying the more formal gardens, then the rest of the park is open to you to explore. An easily traversed path follows the banks of the lake, or you can take the high road and follow a mountain path. Either way, you'll end up with this view. There we are. If you continue along the path, it will lead you up to the waterfall at the head of the lake, and then onto a secluded beach for a picnic. Winding up our visit in Ireland, we'd fly across to Germany and visit the Bavarian city of Augsburg, just outside of Munich. The Augsburg Botanical Gardens is a municipal botanical garden of about 24 acres. It was founded in 1936 as a municipal nursery with a small plot for teaching. Today, the gardens are home to some 3,100 species of plants sourced from deserts, savanna lands, tropical jungles, and the fields of Central Europe. It is open daily, but there is a fee. One of the biggest draws of this botanical garden is its Japanese gardens. Designed by a famous Japanese landscape architect, they have been planned down to the last detail. The components of stone, water, and plants are perfectly balanced, and the whole garden creates a zen-like oasis in the heart of the city. It is considered to be one of the most impressive Japanese gardens in Europe. Beautiful swans glide gracefully on the lakes in the garden, but they can be quite unpredictable and aggressive, so don't go near and tempt fate. Other gardens within this site include a medicinal plant garden, a rose garden, and a crop garden. The gardens are open year-round, with their motto being an experience for the 4 seasons. Another small garden sample is that of a typical Bavarian farm garden, with fruit trees, herbs, and medicinal plants. It is said that there are over 1 million onion plants scattered throughout the whole botanical gardens, and we can see some of them growing here. Lastly, this garden also has one of my favorite things, yard art and sculpture. I couldn't resist taking a photo with this other visitor on the left. Leaving Europe, we fly back across the Atlantic to warmer weather and visit the island nation of Trinidad and Tobago. On the island of Trinidad, we will be visiting the Queen's Park Savannah and the Royal Botanical Gardens. Both are situated in the capital of Port of Spain. This photo shows the savannah, which occupies 260 acres of level land. The distance around the perimeter is about 2.2 miles. The savannah is called the heart and lungs of Port of Spain, and it occupies what was formerly a sugar estate and large cattle pasture before the 19th century. The savannah contains several cricket, football or soccer, and rugby pitches, and it's a great place for kite flying. A tree-lined sidewalk encircles the whole savannah, and it's a favorite for walkers and joggers. It's a great place to also see exotic trees, especially the yellow and pink pui tree. The pui tree flowers in about April every year, heralding the end of the dry season, and the savannah sidewalks are covered in spent blossoms. The view up into the hillsides where the pui grows in masses is spectacular, with yellow and pink standing out against the green. On a walk around the savannah, you can not just enjoy the beautiful trees and mountains, but also stop to have some street food, coconut water drunk straight from the coconut, roasted corn on the cob, and oysters. You can also enjoy some of Trinidad's historical buildings, ranging from an Art Deco hotel to the so-called Magnificent Seven, which are beautiful examples of European colonial architecture. Across the circular road from the savannah is the Royal Botanic Gardens, which were established in 1818 under one of the oldest botanic gardens in the world. These gardens and the savannah are open to the public every day and are free of charge. The gardens are well maintained under one of the most beautiful in the Caribbean, with a wide variety of trees, flowers, and well laid out footpaths. The gardens are a popular place for walks, picnics, or just some quiet time, as there are many benches strategically placed along the footpaths. One must-see tree that can be found in both the gardens and the savannah would be the graceful saman, which is native to Central and South America. These trees can be just described in one word: majesty. The landscaped area of the gardens is about 62 acres and contains about 700 trees, of which only about 13% are indigenous to Trinidad and Tobago, while the rest have been collected from continents all around the world. The saman tree is a great place to take a book and sit down and relax for a while. In the more formal part of the garden, pathways and plants such as crotons, jasmine, poinsettia trees, and musianda or tropical dogwood frame the President's House, built in 1875. There are benches placed there under arbors or close to the bandstand, where, in past times, the police force band would perform for the public on a Sunday afternoon. This is a favorite spot for wedding photographs, and on a Sunday afternoon, you can see wedding parties lined up waiting for their turn. A spot of honor near the bandstand is laid out for the Chiconia plant. This plant blooms on the 31st of August, which coincides with the day that Trinidad and Tobago became independent from the United Kingdom, hence its selection as the national flower of the country. Leaving Trinidad and heading along the Caribbean Sea up into the mountains of Colombia in South America, we visit the Jardín Botánico in Bogotá, which is the largest botanical gardens in Colombia at 19.5 acres. The gardens were founded in 1955 and named in honor of José Celestino Mutis, who was an astronomer and botanist. A statue of Mutis is placed at the entrance of the gardens in his honor. Climbing up to a central hill in the gardens leads you to a beautiful panoramic view of the trees and the tree canopy, providing shade for understory shade specimens. You can even see the shade cloth in the center of the photo if you look hard enough. This is a great place to take in the garden with the Andean mountains in the background. Pathways will lead you into greenhouses for specialty plants or through some of the over 600 palm trees. This garden features plants from every Colombia altitude, climate, and region, and specializes in preserving and collecting Andean species of flowers. There are over 70 varieties of roses which can be found in the formally laid out rose garden, just down from another beautifully laid out palm garden. There are many other themed parks of the garden, and these include areas of Andean woodland plants, medicinal plants, aquatic plants, cacti, and an arboretum. You can also enjoy an artificial waterfall with a tucked away viewing platform. The walk to the platform and back down again winds around a path with vegetation that loves the damp environment the waterfall and small lake provide. Leaving South America, we head back up north to the USA and stop off for our first stop in El Paso, Texas, to visit two locations, the Chihuahuan Desert Gardens and the El Paso Municipal Rose Garden. Both gardens are open to the public and are free of charge. Both of these gardens have a special place in my heart because this is where I first trained and volunteered as a master gardener back in 2013 when I lived in Texas. El Paso is situated at about 3,500 feet above sea level in the high Chihuahuan Desert, and it is the high desert plants that are showcased here. The desert gardens were established in 1999 on the campus of the University of Texas at El Paso. Also located on the property is the Chihuahuan Desert Museum, so you can easily combine both in one visit. The gardens have over 600 species of native plants and are intended to demonstrate that the use of native plants in landscaping can be beautiful and contribute towards water conservation, an important theme in a desert region. Beautiful fairy duster plants abound, along with the use of stone and sculptures or pots to give the gardens height and structure, while blending seamlessly into the area surrounding it. Desert plants can thrive in what might seem to be the most inhospitable of environments, and these are flowering on what can be seen as rocks and just a bit of soil. Being located on a university campus, the gardens also offer a water feature area with benches for students, faculty, or visitors to sit and relax to the soothing sounds of falling water. Visitors can also find Bhutanese structures placed throughout the grounds as the university architecturally emulates this Himalayan country's architecture. There is even a giant Buddhist prayer wheel where visitors can take a spin. This garden has the largest selection of Chihuahuan desert flora in the world. If you're interested, current lists of the plants and guides are available from the museum located on the garden grounds. Not more than 10 minutes from the desert gardens is the El Paso Municipal Rose Garden, which consists of 4 acres planted with more than 1,500 rose bushes of over 430 varieties. The first roses were planted in April 1958, and the garden was opened to the public in May of 1959. There are special sections within the garden for earth-kind roses, miniatures, climbing, and native roses. Most of the garden's rose bushes are repeat bloomers, with April and October being the months with most to show. This section on a high point of the garden is a favorite for wedding photos, as the whole platform, from which we are seeing only half, is surrounded by white roses of many different varieties. Pathways are wheelchair accessible as they are laid out in a switchback pattern. This also gives you the opportunity to get up close and personal with the roses and enjoy their beauty and fragrance. Since 1970, the El Paso Master Gardeners have volunteered at the Rose Garden doing pruning, deadheading, weeding, and other tasks. They also provide information to garden visitors and conduct tours. Master Gardeners give an annual pruning demonstration every February where members of the public can get hands-on experience. Further west to the Pacific coast, we will now visit the San Francisco Botanical Gardens. This garden is located in San Francisco's Golden Gate Park and is 55 acres in size. There are nearly 9,000 different kinds of plants from all over the world in this garden, with particular focus being placed on magnolia plants, high elevation plants, conifers, and cloud forest species from Central America, South America, and Southeast Asia. There are so many different gardens located within this site, and some even provide you with an elevated walkway to get a better view. This path is leading through the Mesoamerican garden. There is also a children's garden, a succulent garden, a fragrance garden, and of course the Redwood Grove, because one cannot go to California and not see any redwoods. You can travel around the world in this one space as the gardens are organized by geographical region. Within the cooler areas of the garden, you can visit the rhododendron and camellia garden, a sure treat for the avid gardener. The Japanese tea garden is one of the most popular places to visit here. It was built as part of the 1894 World's Fair and is the oldest public Japanese garden in the United States. This garden's many paths, ponds, and the tea house feature plants and trees pruned and arranged in a Japanese style. It is 3 acres of sculptures and structures influenced by Buddhist and Shinto religious beliefs, as well as many elements of water and rock to create a calming landscape designed to slow people down. I know it was certainly the part of the botanical gardens where I spent the most time. It's also a place to enjoy the wildlife, including my first ever sighting of an eagle, and it was incredible. The goldfish here are obviously well fed as well. There is plenty to keep children interested, including this climbing bridge. The smaller gardens surround the larger central meadow, creating beautiful, restful vistas while walking from one area to the other. We saw the occasional master gardener working in different areas, and they were very helpful with plant identification, although plants and trees are well labeled and identified here. Now on to the last stop of our tour. Because we're heading into our cooler weather, I thought we could visit a spot that is open year-round, but with a little something extra for the December holiday season. We're visiting the Lincoln Park Conservatory in Chicago, Illinois. Located on the shores of Lake Michigan, the Lincoln Park Conservatory is beautiful in the warmer months when the exterior botanical gardens are an added pleasure to walk through and explore. In the winter months, when everything outside is usually covered with snow, you can head on in to enjoy the clean, warm air and the tropical smells of the conservatory. And this is where we will spend our last visit. Let's step right into the conservatory and begin our walk between ancient ferns and towering palms. This Victorian-era glass house, built between 1890 and 1895, displays lush, exotic plants from all over the world. There are 3 houses within the conservatory: the palm house, the orchid house, and the fern house. Every kind of tropical plant that you can think of can be found here. There are bromeliads and orchids at every turn, and the sounds of running water from the numerous water fountains and features can easily fool you into thinking you are in a tropical climate. All the plants are well identified, so it's easy to get carried away on your new and growing houseplant list. It's also easy to forget that the ground outside is covered with snow and that cold wind is blowing across Lake Michigan. Crotons grow as tall as trees here, and keep an eye out for the sausage tree, which is a native of Africa. It grows 20 to 40 feet tall and bears sausage-like fruit, hence the name. Each sausage is about 1 to 2 feet long and hangs on long cord-like stalks, like sausages on the link. If you visit any time from Thanksgiving on, you'll be treated to a poinsettia show. The pathways are lined with poinsettias of all colors and shapes, leading you into a special holiday space. This beautiful village is nestled between the potted poinsettias, with a train busily tooting to the child and calling to the child in all of us. The colors of the poinsettias are amazing. Some are solid, some are double, some are variegated, and they come in all shades of red, pink, and white. Conifers are scattered around the area, and each one is decorated differently. My favorite, however, is the use of cut twigs and branches among the poinsettias. This is a great place to pick up some new ideas. With this taking us on into the winter and holiday season, it's a good place to end our trip around the world. So thank you for spending time with me, reliving my visits to these gardens. I hope you've enjoyed seeing them as much as I've enjoyed showing them to you. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us by email at mastergardeners.rc@gmail.com or call the Rutherford County Extension Office at 615-898-7710. You can also follow us on Facebook at Master Gardeners of Rutherford County TN and Instagram, mastergardeners_RuthCo2. Thanks for viewing with us. Bye.